All right, guys. So I am here with a man who needs no introduction, the one and only Jeremy Lefebvre, who is undoubtedly one of the real OGs here in the finance and investing community on YouTube. Jeremy, first and foremost, man, how are you doing?
Doing well, and thank you for having me on. Looking very forward to today's video. I've been tracking your channel for a bit, and you're providing a need in the marketplace that definitely needs a lot of attention. Dividend investing, on YouTube especially, a lot of people love to talk growth stocks, and growth stocks are fun and those sorts of things, but not growth investing is not for everybody. And I think dividend investing, building out a great dividend portfolio is a very important thing. Regardless if you want to do just that, or even if you are a growth investor, is like, I'm such a believer in like GVD, growth value dividends. And so, yeah, I appreciate everything you're doing out there, the content you're putting out, and looking forward to chatting about a whole variety of subjects here today. So,
Well, thank you, man. And I got to tell you, like, when I first started doing this stuff a few years ago, I'm only about, I'd say 3.5, 4 years into my investing journey. But when I first got interested and wanted to learn about this stuff, go to YouTube to figure it all out, as many do. And one of the first channels I stumbled upon was yours. And so throughout the years, just both as an investor and as a creator, you're someone I've always really looked up to and learned a lot from. So thank you for all the inspiration and all the motivation. This is kind of a full circle moment, a very serendipitous moment for me. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
absolutely, my pleasure, man. And I'm glad you found the channel. I'm always thankful that people can find the channel out there, especially if you're a newer investor. So,
Yeah. Well,
exciting.
getting into your portfolios, man. I know you've got a few of them. Walk me through just real quick your different portfolios. You got the public account, you got the dividend portfolio. What's going on with both of those? Where are they both sitting at right now, just in terms of value? I'll even put them up on the screen as we're going
Yeah,
through it. But tell me about
the
those.
public account is my big dog portfolio that I started. That's a public account there. That one I started, oh gosh, probably over 5 years ago, maybe close to 6 years ago now at this point in time. And we've just been building it up, ever since essentially. And then I have my dividend only portfolio, that one there, which is, you can only get in that portfolio if you're a dividend paying stock. And that one I started, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And what's been really fun about that portfolio is just trying to see, like how that would perform versus a public account over time. A dividend only focused account where it's all about just getting the cash flows, using that cash flow to buy more dividend stocks and things like that. And it's been fascinating to watch the performance of those two over time, because last year the dividend portfolio was holding pretty dang strong. It was amazing. This year, the dividend portfolio is getting absolutely smoked, because obviously the public account, the biggest positions are like Meta, Tesla, Palantir, Amazon, like some of those stocks that have just, kind of been on a rocket ship ride this year. So it's been really fun. And if anybody's not familiar with kind of my investing philosophies, growth, value, dividends. So I love to, invest in growth stocks, obviously, and then value stocks and dividend stocks. And the way I look at it is those value stocks and dividend stocks are really your protection, because there's going to be certain moments in the market where you're not getting any gains, or growth stocks are not in favor. Like, no one wants a piece of growth stocks. Meanwhile, you're still making that cash flow from those dividend stocks. You're getting paid out every 3 months from all these different stocks. And as you build bigger and bigger, next thing you know, it's like hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars. If you're building really big, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars pouring in that you can go ahead and then buy stocks for, if the market's in a tough place, for much cheaper prices, which is kind of a beautiful thing. And the way I almost kind of look at it is like a boxer. If all you know how to do is throw a punch, you're not going to get too far in the boxing world, right? You got to know defense. You got to know all these little tactics and things like that. And so becoming a very well-rounded investor over time, you kind of got to learn all the disciplines, because certain time periods, like right now is a great time to kind of be picking value and dividend stocks. Like, that's actually where I'm mainly focused this year, versus last year was mostly growth stocks. Certain time periods, like growth stocks, are going to be super overvalued, and you're like, dude, where are the deals here? And that's when you go to the value and divs. Are there deals there? And you can find opportunities, right? Or vice versa. So anyways, that's kind of my strategies, and those are obviously the two main portfolios out there. And I just enjoy the aspect of growing them, and hopefully, someday the public counts a $5 or $10 million portfolio. That's a goal over time. So
I mean, just based on your age, you're 34, 35, right?
33.
33. Okay, my bad. I don't want to overage you too much, but
Yeah, you were
I mean,
close.
it's inevitable. It's inevitable. That one's 1.7, $1.8 million. I don't see any reality where that doesn't hit that number at some point. And kind of going back to what you were saying a moment ago, just in terms of how you're maybe allocating your contribution. So because you're focusing, maybe prioritizing more the dividend portfolio right now, are you not contributing as much to the public account, the growth portfolio, or how does that work? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I still buy. So I buy $250 in the dividend portfolio every week, $250 in the public account every week, and $150 in my Patreon portfolio every single week. But in terms of big additional capital, not really funneling anything in the public account right now. Really, what I'm up to is dividends and values are really like what's attracting me right now. So I'm putting money in those. And then also, I'm doing a little bit of combinations of some hedges right now in case we have some real economic weakness. In case we have a recession, obviously in 2024, and then also stacking a little cash right now. It's a really it's the most attractive. I've been in the market 15 years. There's never been a better time to be adding some cash than right now. Because right now on a savings account, you're getting 4.25, 4.5% if you've got a good savings account. Obviously, short-term treasuries are paying 5% plus. I mean, that was never even like something we could have considered in the past. And so the fact that you have that right now is very, very attractive. And especially with S&P large caps trading relatively rich, I mean, it's a great time to kind of do a little bit of everything, doing a little buying. There's opportunities out there, doing a little bit of hedging in case things get rough in 24, and then also adding some cash because you can get a great return on cash right now. So that's kind of what I'm up to, at least in the short term. But based upon market, things can change very quickly. If the market tanks all of a sudden, you're going to see me out there buying a lot heavier. If the market goes up a lot, you might see me cashing up a little bit more. So, I kind of move with the market in terms of that.
Yeah. So when you say hedging, is that what those put options I saw, what those put options were that I saw in the public account, or is that something different that
No,
you're
that's
referring to?
correct.
Okay.
So I just started doing some hedges inside the public account for next year. So I'm going to do another
Mm.
$10,000 worth of hedges in September. I'll do another $10,000 worth of hedges in October, and then I'll consider another 10K potentially in either November or December. And those are options just in case. I mean, obviously, there's considerable risk out there right now. We're at a very interesting moment because unemployment's still relatively low. The economy's held up way better than almost anybody anticipated.
Yeah.
But yeah, but on the flip side, you've had the Fed, rates the highest they've been pretty much in multi decades, and eventually they usually catches up with the economy, and so that's why we're at a very interesting time period here where it kind of feels like are things going to eventually break at some point next year, right? And we kind of maybe
Yeah.
got a little taste of it with SVB and some of the regional banks, and so that's why I'm just watching myself hedging up a little bit, and I'll continue to do that for at least the next, I would say, 12 to 24 months in terms of some hedges out there.
Okay. I was gonna wait to bring this up till later in the conversation, but we're on the subject. I mean, kind of like you were saying, there's been a lot of confusion in the market and in the economy lately. Things have been up, things have been down, hard landing, soft landing. I know it's kind of impossible to predict what's going to happen in the future, but do you have any thoughts as to what is to come for the rest of the year and also as we head into 2024, not just in the stock market, I mean, certainly there, but the economy as a whole, fears of a recession, interest rates, whether or not
Yeah.
we'll have a hard landing or soft landing. Do you have any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah. So I think if the Fed is able to, bring down rates at a relatively quick pace before things could potentially get ugly, I think then we could be talking about maybe a soft landing or maybe a medium landing. The problem with the Fed usually is they go too far for too long, and they already did this a couple of years ago. Inflation. Anybody that ran a business already knew inflation was going wild in 2021, and yet the Fed stood by, kept rates at zero. And kept kind of their we can call it monetary easing and everything that they were up to there, right? And then by the time they start raising rates in 2022, I mean inflation was already out of control. So we know they can make a mistake, and so there's very much a possibility that they keep rates too high for too long. The dominoes start falling the wrong way. The economy really starts getting hit. By the time they start cutting, they're late to the game, and then we have kind of 1 to 2 years of pain out there, right? Where the unemployment rate climbs to whatever number it climbs to, and where we're just in very soft economic conditions. So I think that's the main risk. We'll see. We'll see if they're able to get through. We should be fine as far as at least unemployment goes for the remainder of this year. We're looking pretty good. But I think 2024 in general is just a big question mark. So I don't think it's a lot of people have been kind of doomsday for the last year. I would say the last 12 months, and I wouldn't go there though. A lot of people have been betting heavy on short positions, put options, just getting absolutely slaughtered. I mean, just losing their entire portfolios because they were so convinced like we were going to tank and the economy was going to tank, and it's just things are taking a lot longer than a lot of folks anticipated, and the economy's held up a lot better for a lot longer than anybody anticipated. But I mean, I think the one thing a lot of people didn't consider is how much stimulus they really did, and how much money they pumped out there in the system. In that, you're going to need to keep rates high for a pretty good amount of time until you kind of get rid of all that and you kind of cause enough damage out there. Because we never went through a situation where they literally pumped trillions of dollars into the economy like they did, and to then get that out that's a challenge, and it takes a lot more time than I think a lot of folks anticipated. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So the thing is, I just want to position for any scenario. Growth, great. A slower time, great. A bad time, okay, I got my hedges. That will make me a lot of money. I can flip out of those hedges at some point in 24, put that into long positions at much cheaper prices. So regardless of what happens, I don't mind. If
Yeah.
the stocks go down a ton, I'll also buy the dip. I got a good amount of cash on the sideline. So, that's the magic. If you can, where people get into danger when they go all short the market, they're so convinced it's all going bad, or they're all in the market, or even worse, they're on margin and all in the market. That's a very dangerous territory, because then you're counting in on the stocks just going up and the market going up, and as soon as it flips the other way, you're just pulling your hair out like, come on, man. Like, so anyways, that's kind of my perspective on that.